Hello. My case study this week is from Chapter 9, Intellectual Properties, entitled National Football League, or the NFL, versus McBee's and Bruno's Incorporated. The facts or the background behind the case is that in 1986, the NFL and the St. Louis Football Cardinals, I guess at the time it was the St. Louis Football Cardinals before they moved to Arizona, uh, were suing several local St. Louis businesses, bars, restaurants for broadcasting satellite feed of their game, their home game in St. Louis. Normally, you'd ask why, but it's because that this game was supposed to be blacked out. And in other words, the if the ticket sales aren't high enough, or if they don't meet a quota 72 hours before a football game, a home football game, according to the league policy and league rules with the teams, they have to black out. Uh, they have to black out the game to local media, satellite cable providers, so they can't show it. This in turn, when they do that, would force people to go to the game itself. Like I said, I don't know if I said it, 75-mile radius. So people in St. Louis, downtown St. Louis, right next to Busch Stadium, can't watch it in the bar or in the restaurant because they need the team needs ticket sales, so they would have to go watch it in person. So they're suing them because they did this. They said that they picked up the feeds and that this violated copyright laws. And I guess to give it away at the end, the district court ruled in their favor. The defendants, the businesses, appealed it to the next level. The district court went ahead and went with the copyright. Yeah, it was copyright infringement. But both sides, pretty cut and dry. The NFL, or the St. Louis Cardinals, football Cardinals. Sorry, it's kind of odd for me. I'm young and I wasn't alive then. Some of you might have been. Their side of the case, they say that these restaurants were illegally showing their games, and they gave the process for it, of how a satellite image gets to be on TV, and it's a long process on paper. It's not a long process when it's done. So to say it's easier said than done is actually backwards in this case. But I'll do a brief thing. Basically, there's a truck outside of the stadium who has all the live feeds of cameras and microphones. This is called the clean feed. There's no commercials involved. They send that clean feed to Long Island in this case, and they send it to CBS. CBS then will ship it out to the local affiliates at the ball game, and there they will put in commercials, national commercials, and then local commercials. So this becomes the dirty feed, or how those businesses make money and how the NFL makes money through sponsorships and that part. So these businesses were taking these clean feeds, just the feeds from the cameras and microphones, and showing them in their business. So the NFL says, well, that's copyright infringement. You can't show that. It's been blacked out. Because it's been blacked out, that forces people to come and buy tickets and actually go to the physical game. So you are harming us in a way that would cost us money. It's fairly easily proven in their case. But the defendants, the restaurants, all of them except for two, and I'll get to those two oddballs here at the end, they had the clean feed, and they were, but their arguments were kind of different. One of the arguments was that the satellite operations, the satellite dishes and receivers are common now in homes and households, so that it would be as if it was somebody at home personally getting it, and that no copyright infringement would be there. but the court says that it's still, the equipment they had is still outnumbered by TVs 100 to 1, the court case said. So they said, no, that argument doesn't work. Another argument that they had was that it was a clean feed, it wasn't the dirty feed with the commercials. So they said, it's not, you can't copyright a performance, and that it's a clean feed, it's not the dirty feed, you're not really losing money, and the court threw that one out as well. To kind of back up here real quick, the NFL not only sued them for that, they also got a permanent injunction, which means that these restaurants also can't show the last home game of that season. Okay, so with those two defenses being shot down, the defendants go to their third one and say, well, if you can go through with this permanent injunction should go away. They can't force us to not show something in the future. In which case the court said, yes, actually they can because of the copyright laws. And then one, I've got to go back, I guess it was a fourth one. The defendants say that the NFL couldn't prove or give suitable evidence as to the harm that they were getting. But of course the court said, well, if it's blacked out, then those people have to go to the game. And since you're showing it, they're not going to the game and they're losing money ticket sales wise. So that didn't work as well. So in conclusion, and it's kind of really straightforward, the appeals court here says the district court did a good job, and we're going to uphold their ruling for all but 2 of the restaurants. Now I say that they're, and that was the end result of the case, by the way, and it kind of ends it all. The NFL got the permanent injunction kept, and then of course they got money for that. The 2 oddball ones, one was closed on Sundays, so but they were still picking up the signal there. Apparently the owner and 3 of his friends were watching the game that way through the clean feed. The court says they'll throw that out because it was like personal home use, and there was no commercial business there because they're closed on Sundays, so they got out of it. The second one, which is kind of weird, reading it actually hits home. They said one restaurant was actually picking up the feed of the game through a CBS affiliate in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I mean, most of you know, I'm assuming, Cape Girardeau is one of the largest, is the largest city in southeast Missouri, which is coincidentally only about 20 minutes away from my house right now where I'm talking to you from. So it's kind of interesting to see a little hometown flavor in there. But they were picking the signal up all the way from Cape, which is about 2 hours away, which is well out of the 75-mile radius of a blackout. So the court said, well, if you're out, they were getting that strong a signal from the Cape Girardeau station, that it's outside the 75-mile radius. So therefore, they're not breaking any copyright laws. The day must have just been a real nice, clear day for that to happen. Last thing that we have to discuss here would be the implications for an athletic or activity administrator, and this one's kind of weird, being intellectual property, plus also it being professional. It's kind of different. I guess collegiately this applies more, and in some high schools, in terms of broadcasting, I guess the implications as an activities director is to know your copyright laws. High school is probably a weak example. If you're an athletic administrator and you are broadcasting games through radio, or I guess in some cases TV. I've only seen that through Misha. I've never seen a personal, like a high school televised. Is that you should know the copyright laws and understand maybe, what happens if you're not doing something properly on your end, or in this case, how others are displaying your athletes or listening to your athletes on the radio. Are they getting a clean feed? Are they getting a dirty feed? Are you losing Are you gaining harm from this happening? So I think the implications are you should know the copyright laws in terms of media uh, disbursement, I guess. I guess, like I said, and work better for the collegiate level because they do have personal network. Like Notre Dame has their own network, and I'm pretty sure they know their copyright laws. But even as an athletic director, there you should still probably know that. And then also laws regarding televised events. In case you know, collegiately, it's pretty easy. Like I said, most of them are older. High schoolers, maybe there's an age, maybe there's a consent form that needs to be signed. So the implications are a lot of legal ramifications here, a lot of copyright laws, and then of course a lot of personal use laws as well. Okay, so the moral of the story is, if it's blacked out, don't show a feed, even if you get it legally. Don't do that. You're probably going to come back and bite you where you don't want it to. Thank you.